We have seen recently in the MCU that MJ is a pretty good love interest to Peter Parker. And frankly, I'm sure that most of you loved Gwen Stacy in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But these two angels for our boy Peter Parker are, for sure, in the minority of his love interest. So that is why I've decided to make this video to tell you the main reasons why Peter Parker's love life usually tends to give me massive trust issues. While Peter has had some of his own not so great moments, he has had many girlfriends that have done him wrong in so many different ways. I have made this clear in a couple of other my videos that have specifically been talking about Spider-Man and like his relationships, specifically just talking about anything along that fact. I don't like the Mary Jane from the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. And I only say that because of the fact that that specific kind of relationship really was something that gave me a lot of trust issues in so many different facets. The way that Mary Jane was always just basically flip-flopping and just switching from who she was interested in, and you literally just saw her going from everybody else besides Peter and even going to Peter, but switching around was honestly so irritating that it's actively hilarious. Even in the comics or in almost any other movie that you can think of with Peter, there's always something going on and something going wrong with his relationships. So he might always be having a good time as Peter, but then he's having a horrible time as Spider-Man, or it's always vice versa. But in every single fact, his relationships are always going to absolute hell. Obviously, there are some problems that are specifically on Peter's side, specifically due to the fact that he, being Spider-Man, usually causes him to either leave dates or just go MIA for periods at a time, usually in the worst and most inconveniencing moments. So that would obviously cause whoever his love interest is at that moment to be very much questioning where he is, does he care, or what in the world is going on, especially if he hasn't gotten to the point where he tells them, oh, I'm Spider-Man, this is what I do, and even then some of the love interests literally just leave once they figure that singular fact out. There are so many relationships and so many specific things that I could actively talk about to bring home to the fact that his relationships really do give me trust issues, but one of the main ones that I'm actively going to first be talking about is with one of his greatest love interests, Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is quite literally, in my opinion, Peter Parker's one main true love. Obviously, we have MJ and everything like that, but Gwen Stacy was there before MJ, and she was involved so integrally into his storyline that after she died, in one of the obviously most well-known ways, they have barely ever brought her back. But there have been a few examples, the one that I'm specifically going to be talking about where they did bring her back in the comics, that honestly just gave me even more trust issue. This being 2016 through 2017's Dead No More, The Clone Conspiracy. This storyline basically involves where Gwen Stacy is brought back to life, obviously as a clone, by a masked man thought to be the Jackal. In this, she is basically told that she isn't a clone. She's just the revived version of herself, and after some convincing, she eventually decides, yes, to work with the Jackal, and obviously that right there is the biggest triggering part. Eventually, yes, she does decide to go back to working with Peter, not work with the Jackal, but the singular fact that she chose, I'm going to work with him, already having all of her previous memories, is one of those facts that, okay, the trust is kind of getting a little bit blurred right there. That singular fact is just really getting to me to the point like, okay, we have so many people that have been able to love Peter but still betray him or work against him countless times. We have Mary Jane, we have so many other people that have had to work against Peter for a various plethora of reasons, but we always have like some kind of scapegoat answered for like why they had to do this. But the singular fact that they do choose to do this always really is a thing that just kind of breaks trust in a lot of different organizations and a lot of different things. There are so many other situations that I could actively talk about, and I am going to go through a different few, but one specifically that I am going to talk about is a specific situation with Lian Tang. This specific situation was a little after the Superior Spider-Man arc, and where Peter is actively living in Shanghai and is dating this girl, okay? So while he's dating her, like she's helping him with a lot of different things, but eventually comes to light that she had been working with a supervillain to kind of just work against Peter also. This is just yet another situation of Peter's bad relationship choices. She was working with him, yes, for a decent reasoning, and eventually, as most come to do, starts working with Peter again, but obviously the relationship had kind of deteriorated after the point that she was already betrayed him in the first place. But Peter's relationship choices usually just honestly irritate me for the sheer fact that this happens to Peter so often, where he's dating someone or something's going on, but they have some kind of connection to either villains or something's going wrong that's going to happen either way, and you can never really tell what's about to happen or what's going to happen. This only situation was just something that I actually just wanted to bring up because of the singular fact that it was an actual defining moment in my own thought process of reading when I'm like, okay, Peter's relationship choices are really so godly atrocious. I brought her up earlier, but the MJ from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, I would actively like to talk about her a little more because she was the real first example of those trust issues really not being a factor when it came to her. I'm specifically meaning anytime that we really saw her within all three movies, it was always just something different with her. Throughout all of the movies, it's either her just being with somebody else, being with Peter, but obviously just like being interested in somebody else. With her, either it's being Flash, the astronaut, or just something else going around, or honestly her being just so toxic in so many different ways. That entire relationship was honestly just so godly irritating just to see because her character was just irritating and aggravating at every singular point that we saw her. Throughout all three movies, whether it was her being with Harry and Harry being the other guy or whatever else was going on, she was just always pissing me off or pissing somebody off in every single time. Her character, her voice, and almost everything that she did really just irritated me for a good portion of all three movies, and I don't really know too many people that can actively like her as a character. Black Cat is another prime example of somebody that probably would honestly give you trust issues if you dated her, simply due to the fact that before all of the BS with her trying to ruin Peter's life or just getting extremely jealous for no reason, while she was actively like in a full-ish relationship with Spider-Man, she was actively being an amazing girlfriend in a sense that she didn't know who Spider-Man was under the mask. When this was actively going around and she was only knowing who Spider-Man was and not Peter Parker, they were actively in a fairly good relationship. And obviously, as time went on, they were trying to get closer and closer with each other. And it had already gone to the point where they were actively in a fairly good relationship. Let me completely say that before I continue. They were in a good relationship, but she was completely infatuated with the idea of Spider-Man. Once Peter actively started going off and saying, oh yeah, my name is Peter Parker, this is my entire backstory, this is everything that I do, this is why I do it, and everything like that, she stopped completely being in any kind of love or any kind of feeling with Peter. Once she figured out, oh yeah, he's a nerd, he's like this, he's like that. Once she figured out all of this, her feelings just kind of completely switched. And this is after like she had already told him everything about her. He had gone to her house. He had gone to like so many different other things. And after that, he was still like, nope. Feelings off. Just not the exact same way. I'm telling you, that is actually so hilarious. Because yes, obviously Peter broke up with her obviously after that. But the fact that that had happened is honestly hilarious to me. Because of the fact that this is somebody that he was already in a very good relationship with. And obviously they have a very weird relationship that's on and off. But I really just gotta have to say that that honestly was just hilarious. Their relationship as a whole was hilarious, and Peter's relationship with almost anybody that he's been with is obviously always hilarious because of the fact that it always just goes so wrong in so many different ways, whether it's him completely making sure that everybody forgets him or making sure like MJ and like everyone else like forgets him and just ruining his own relationships. It's always him messing up his relationship or somebody else messing up his relationship. So bruh shouldn't really be dating, but honestly, give me your thoughts and opinions on Peter's relationships and any of your opinions on why and how Peter should be dating. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. If you guys did happen to enjoy this video, YouTube thinks that you guys would most likely enjoy these two videos.